All right, welcome. ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Monday, the 29th of May. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast presented, as always, by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. If you're involved in any kind of an accident, you call the best. I would only ever send you to the best. If you listen to ZASLOW Show 2.0, you're practically one of my closest friends. And at Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, if you've been involved in an accident, doesn't matter what kind, you're dealing with a personal injury, they're going to treat you like your family. Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. It is Memorial Day, but we're still doing a show here. However you're listening to us, always appreciate you hanging out with us. Of course, we're doing a show on Memorial Day. We have one of the biggest nights in Miami Heat history on the horizon tonight, as we're several hours away. We got to figure out a way to kill the rest of the day. All of us, right? We're all on the same boat. Maybe you're doing a little bit of a barbecue. Maybe you're going swimming. Maybe you're going out with your family. I'm taking my family. We're going to do Topgolf. However you got to kill the time, we're all in the same boat. We're killing time together to get to 8:30 tonight for one of the biggest nights in Miami Heat history. We're all in this baby together. Now, I don't know if all of our confidence levels are the same. I will tell you right now, hey, last time we spoke, what was it, on Friday, I was super confident going into Game 6. Even the show we did on Thursday, after the loss in Game 5. It would have been Friday, was after the loss in Game 5. So I told you I was super confident going into Game 6, and we were also reacting to Game 5's loss from the night before. And I told you, I'm here to make you feel better. I'm here to tell you I'm very confident going forward. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to disappoint a lot of you guys. I am not confident going into tonight. I think it's extraordinarily difficult for them to recover from the finish that they had in Game 6. Now, you could say it's because of the referees, or it's because of this, it's because of that. However you want to look at it, I think it's incredibly difficult to recover from the way that Game 6 ended. I am not confident. I'm scared to death tonight. I'm very, very nervous. I'm super anxious. I've been moping around these last couple days like I've been grieving. Like you would have thought that someone died, all right? I am emotionally drained with what took place on Saturday night. Today's show, we're going to talk to our pal, SiriusXM Mad Dog Radio Morning Men, Evan Cohen, huge Heat fan. He's not doing a show today, so we're going to give him a platform. We're going to do a little Heat talk with our pal, Evan Cohen. He'll join us coming up. We're doing pretty much all Heat. Well, we're doing all Heat today. Today's show is about what's going on tonight, and today's show is about what happened on Saturday night. Real quick, before we keep moving forward, all of the sponsors on ZASLOW Show 2.0. All huge South Florida sports fans. All huge Heat fans. I've been going back and forth the last couple days with the Greensteins, family, friends, Water Cleanup of Florida. Look, if you got a water leak in your house or in your business, you don't know where it's coming from, you got to call or text Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. We're talking fully licensed, insured, certified to provide the one-stop shopping that all of us busy homeowners and business owners require. No need to bring in other contractors. It's my favorite part. They're handling Water Cleanup of Florida, the entire project from start to finish, serving the entire Tri-County area, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties. Call or text Water Cleanup of Florida as soon as you notice you may have a leak. 954-900-8635 or go to WCUFL.com. You can go to Google. You can check out more than 80 5-star reviews. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida. We clean up your schmutz. So, I've been back and forth with all my sponsors the last couple of days. We're all in this thing together. Sponsors of ZASLOW Show 2.0, listeners of ZASLOW Show 2.0, we're all in this thing together with tonight one of the biggest nights in Miami Heat history. And no, I'm not confident because look, and you may be saying, ZASLOW, just use the logic you always use, which is if someone would have said before this series started, you're going to have Game 7. Game 7. Doesn't matter where it is because we know the Heat don't care about that building. And I still believe that. The Heat don't care about that building. They don't care where they're playing. Before the Heat lost Game 5 in Boston, they had won 4 in a row in that building in the playoffs. Games 1 and 2 this year. Games 4 and 6 last year. The Heat don't care about that building. I'm not concerned about that part. The part that I'm concerned about is it's now a one-game scenario. And yes, we've beaten them 3 times. But it's a one-game scenario against a team that is better than us and has also won 3 in a row. And most of all, not just the way that the game ended on Saturday night, but it's the way we've been playing. We've gotten our ass kicked in 2 of the games, and the last game, the only reason we were even in it was because the role players were phenomenal. Martin, Robinson, Strus, fantastic performances. And while it's not like I don't believe those guys can have good games on the road, we've seen it. We know the role players always play better at home. And we're also, we're totally in the pressure cooker now, right? Where they may tell you it's not on their mind. Being the team that suffers the most historic collapse in the history of the NBA. It's never happened before. Being that team, maybe it'll motivate them, but at the same time, it's going to be in the back of your mind. And that could mess you up. Oh, the pressure's on the Celtics tonight. Pressure's on both teams tonight. It's Game 7. What are you talking about? The pressure has shifted. Pressure's on both teams. And you got one of those teams that is insanely confident right now, and that's the Celtics. Do I think the Heat are confident? Yeah, I think they're a confident bunch, but they also know they've lost 3 in a row. So let's talk about Game 6, and then we're going to bring on my pal Evan Cohen because we've got a lot to talk about with him. I've been emotionally drained these last couple days from that Game 6. You know, I'm an adult now. I don't behave during games the way that I did, even as recently as, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I mean, all these games used to be life and death for me. It's not like that anymore. I've been through championships. I've been through the biggest games. Now, I think part of it, this is interesting. Part of it, because what I was going to say is my behavior, my intensity level in Game 6 the other night was like peak ZASLOW fan madness. It was like 10 years ago. It was like 15 years ago. It was like when I was a kid. You know what it was like? It was like before I was on the Heat broadcast. So I think part of that probably plays a role where this now, and going back to Saturday night, was the first monster game, super high pressure game that I've watched solely as a fan in, we're talking, 16, 17 years, right? Like going back to 2006. Because the next super high pressure situations, I was on the Heat broadcast, and I'm not going to act like a madman. And my intensity level Saturday night during Game 6 was like way back then. It was peak ZASLOW fan madness. And by the time the game was over, and certainly all of the next day, I mean, I was emotionally drained. Just completely drained. Like I haven't been in, like I said, maybe 17 years watching a Heat game. It was so intense, that game. We're fighting from behind the whole time. We finally, I know they took the lead 83-82 on a Robinson 3, and then, they went back down by 10, right? And then the Celtics miss 11 straight shots. The Heat take the lead, and you have what I'm telling you. Now, obviously, tonight plays a role. If the Heat win tonight, we never have to think about it again. It's completely meaningless the way that they lost Game 6. If the Heat win tonight, that goes away. We don't ever have to talk about it again. It means nothing. But if the Heat lose tonight, Game 6, the finish to Game 6, is the worst moment in Miami Heat history. It surpasses Allen Houston. That Game 6 finish was the most devastating moment in Miami Heat history because of what was at stake, because of what was on the line. Yes, the Heat were a number 1 seed when they lost in the first round Game 5 on the Allen Houston shot. Guess what? If the Heat win that game, you still got 2 more rounds to win until you could go to the NBA Finals. And you would have ran into the 1999 eventual world champion San Antonio Spurs. But that was the first round. The Allen Houston shot is devastating. It was also the first round. You take a buzzer beater there, Allen Houston, which, by the way, wasn't exactly the buzzer. There was a few tenths of a second left. But you take the buzzer beater for Allen Houston there, and you take the buzzer beater here, and line up the stakes. One ended your season in the first round, and this one, if the Heat lose tonight, essentially ended your season in the Eastern Conference Finals. And you have to factor in, we were up 3-0. It's the worst moment in Miami Heat history. I don't even think it's close. It's not. I don't even believe it's close. So we're all dealing with that. And as a result, I'm drained. I gave everything I had to that game Saturday night emotionally. And just completely drained. So, does that play a role in how I feel tonight? Yeah, probably. So, I want to talk about the officiating from Game 6. Now, you know how I feel about this. By the way, officials tonight, 2 of the 3. Scott Foster, Tony Brothers. The third's John Goebel. Scott Foster, I don't have a problem with Scott Foster. I know oh my God, it's Scott Foster. There is nothing wrong with Scott Foster as an official. Tony Brothers, on the other hand, is one of, if not the worst official in the NBA. That one I got a problem with. But you know what? Maybe what evens things out tonight is you need a guy who's a terrible official to make terrible calls, and hopefully they go against the Celtics. Maybe that winds up being a good thing. You know, the Celtics are a better team. They're at home. You need something to kind of throw things off kilter. Maybe that's Tony Brothers. Maybe an awful official throwing things off kilter is what you need if you're the Miami Heat. In general, I don't believe any of these bullshit NBA conspiracy theories. I don't care about any of that stuff. The league wants a Game 7, more money. The league's on welfare? NBA's not doing well. They've spent their billions of dollars a year on the TV deal. They're out of money. I don't believe that stuff. Do I believe that officials can make terrible calls? Yes. And so there were a lot of terrible calls in Game 6. For one, and yes, I'm going to complain about the officials because we're all emotional right now and we're all angry and we're all trying to figure out what the F happened on Saturday night. Overall, if Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo play better, do the Heat win? Yes, of course. Everybody knows that. That's in our control. But the official stuff is out of our control, and it's really difficult it's difficult to rationalize what took place there. So yes, overall, Jimmy was terrible leading up to the fourth quarter. And I think Jimmy's out of gas. And this was my big fear with Jimmy. I haven't felt Tyler Hero not playing. I don't think Tyler Hero plays tonight. If he was going to play, you bring him back at home, kind of like a warm-up game, Game 6, instead of do or die Game 7. I do not believe Tyler Hero plays. And he was listed as out yesterday. I thought he was going to play Saturday night. But Tyler being out, I have not felt was a big deal because it means the ball's going to be in Jimmy's hands more. You don't just lose the field goal attempts from Tyler Hero. You don't just lose the points that he scores. Someone else is going to take those shots. And that someone else has been Jimmy Butler. So it's a good thing. Unless 35-year-old Jimmy Butler gets tired. Because he's doing too much. And yeah, that's what it looks like is happening to me. That was my big fear. And it looks like that's what's happening. Because, I mean, is he hurt? I don't think so. You're never going to know. He'll never tell you he's hurt. I think he's out of gas. I think he's totally out of gas. You know, like you saw essentially in Game 6 in the 2020 finals in the bubble. He had that unbelievable series, unbelievable Game 5, had nothing left in the tank Game 6. Totally out of gas. And that's what I saw, and still managed to will his team to a lead with 2.1 seconds left? No, with 3 seconds left. So, the league's 2-minute report came out yesterday. We're all looking forward to the league's 2-minute report, right? Because they're going to admit that there was a mistake. Because here's the thing. It can't be both. If they called a foul at 3 seconds left, when Al Horford looked like he was about to touch, like his fingertips may have been touching Jimmy Butler's hip, that was 3 seconds. The first thing I would tell you is there is no chance in the world that the official is calling that a foul in that spot. 3 seconds left in the game. Because it's not even a foul. There is no chance the official is calling that a foul in that moment. But let's say he did. If that was the foul that was called, which it wasn't, because you're watching the game, the official did not call a foul there. But let's say it was. Let's say when they reviewed it in the replay center, that was the foul that they called. Okay, logical. Then it's not a 3-shot foul. Then it's just a foul on the floor, and the Heat are in the bonus, and they're getting 2 shots, not 3 shots. If he's getting 3 shots, it's because he was fouled and he was hacked across the arms. That was with 2.1 seconds left. That was when the clock stopped. You want to put back some time? Okay, also logical. Can't be 3 seconds. We know what it looked like at 3 seconds. Can't be 3 seconds, so it can't be both. If the foul was at 3 seconds, it's a 2-shot foul. If the foul was on the shot, it wasn't 3 seconds. Somebody fucked up. It can't be both. One of them is wrong. Oh, but the last 2-minute report came out yesterday. The last 2-minute report said they got the timing right. Okay, now let's use some common sense. The last 2-minute report meant nothing coming out yesterday. The last 2-minute report corrects official mistakes in the last 2 minutes of every game for transparency purposes, and they show mistakes are made every game. Every game. Oh, but ZASLOW, so why would they be covering this up? Mistakes are made all the time in live action plays, live action whistles. The officials are human. There are going to be mistakes. And the league wants transparency, and that's why the last 2-minute report will show these mistakes. Okay, there is no way the league was going to include in the last 2-minute report that a mistake was made upon a replay review. When several officials, not just the officials on the court, but you have officials in Secaucus, New Jersey, who were on the phone, who were on the speakers, who were on the headsets together and reviewing a play, not a live action whistle, are reviewing a play in slow motion with the clock syncing together and having a conversation, not in live time, not live action, and are figuring out what happened. And they still got it wrong? You think that's going to be included in the last 2-minute report? They lose all credibility. What's the point of replay then? We did replay and they still got it wrong? There's no time limit for the replay. You can sit there for 20 minutes. They do it all the time. Get it right. And they still got it wrong, which they did, but they're not going to admit that, because then what the hell is the point in all this replay? What the hell is the point in the challenges? What's the point in communicating with Secaucus and having the headsets on and slowing everything down? There was zero chance in the last 2-minute reports were they going to admit that they screwed up the time. Without question, they screwed up the time. Because it can't be both. Either it was 3 seconds and it's a 2-shot foul, or it's a 3-shot foul and there is much less than 3 seconds remaining. It's impossible for it to be both. And they screwed up. They effed it up. Now, did the Heat screw up by not boxing out properly on the final play? Yeah, of course. And unfortunately, 2 major plays in the game were as a result of an error from Bam Adebayo. the final play where Marcus Smart misses, and the coach is right after the game. Like, if Marcus Smart throws up any kind of normal Marcus Smart brick, game's over. It literally bounced the only place it could bounce in the most perfect way for a putback with the minimum 1/10 of a second remaining for the Celtics to win. But Bam in that spot has to understand there's so little time left that boxing out at the free throw line is not logical. You got to box out right in front of the rim. Because if the guy at the free throw line were to get the ball, not doing anything with it, you got to crash the rim if you're Bam Adebayo in that spot and knock that ball away. That's a major error. The second major error was, what are we talking? Several free points, at least 2 free points, that the Celtics were given because of a really bad mental error by Bam Adebayo on a goaltend. I still don't have an explanation for what happened, but I understand the rules well enough to know that Jaylen Brown was fouled by Kyle Lowry, so he's going to go to the free throw line for 2 shots. But on that play, Bam blocks the shot legally, but it's called a goaltend because he used the rim for leverage. So the basket's going to count. That's 2 points that they shouldn't have had because Bam is grabbing the rim. And because you grab the rim during play, that's an automatic technical foul. So that's a free point right there that they're also getting. So as a result, a 4-point play where 3 of those points were gifted to Boston because of a mental error from Bam Adebayo. And that's just the truth. 2 monster plays, 2 monster errors from Bam, who we know had a dog shit game. So yes, the biggest thing is the Heat's big guys, Butler, and even though Butler came through in the end, Butler and Bam were terrible. But the Heat can control those things. That's on them. Having other people F up your chance to win, the referees, we can't control, and that's really frustrating. That part is unacceptable. Got no problem pointing the fingers at ourselves when we don't do things that we need to do to win. But you can't control incompetence. And that's what happened several plays in that game from the officials, most notably at the very end, which was total bullshit. And then, by the way, so you'll also have this where, the TV and the game clock, they're not the same. They're not in sync. Sometimes they're off by a very small amount, by several tenths, very small amount. The game clock and the TV clock are not always in sync. Okay, I've never heard that before, but I suppose that's logical. Except here's the thing. Why were the game clock and the TV clock perfectly in sync on Derek White's putback? Derek White's putback came with 1/10 of a second left, and the game clock and the TV clock were exactly in sync for that moment. But they weren't in sync, apparently, on the Butler 3-point foul, and an extra 9/10 of a second had to be added. I've been watching basketball my entire life. Yes, there are plenty of plays late in games where time is added back on the clock. I have never watched one of these games and wondered, why the hell is that much time being added? I have never been told it's because the game clock and the TV clock are not exactly in sync. I've never watched the end of a game and had no idea why X amount of time was added back to the clock. And then again, why was the clock, the game, and the TV perfectly in sync to the 10th of a second on the very next play? They figured it out there, didn't they? It's bullshit is what it is. It's bullshit. They fucked up. It's bullshit. And now, you got a scenario tonight, which, if it doesn't go our way, it's a sleepless night. I don't even know that Sheets and Giggles will help us sleep. You know I'm getting the most comfortable sleep out there because Sheets and Giggles. Sheets and Giggles has been a sponsor on ZASLOW Show 2.0 for a couple months now. And hey, SheetsGiggles.com. That's where you go. You're going to get the softest, coolest, most breathable sheets you've ever slept on. The comforter, I got a eucalyptus pillow. You ever sleep on a eucalyptus mattress? Go to SheetsGiggles.com. Use promo code ZASLOW at checkout. You get 20% off your first order. Use promo code HEAT. You'll get 25% off your entire order. SheetsGiggles.com. My man Colin, founder and CEO. Like I said, all sponsors on ZASLOW Show 2.0 are huge South Florida sports fans. My man Colin, he's crushed about the Heat also. Super excited about the Panthers. So not only does he love our teams, but he's helping all of us sleep better. Sheets and Giggles. You know the show is taking off, ZASLOW Show 2.0, when Sheets and Giggles is on board. Go to SheetsGiggles.com. You'll never shop anywhere else for sheets. Just like the ZASLOW family, you'll be one of over 100,000 Americans that are sleeping on Sheets and Giggles. Go to SheetsGiggles.com.